Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal Conversation with myself, Anne Welsh. Today's conversation is one of courage, bringing out our culture, and enduring pain to find your joy. My guest today, Shemika Campbell, will be telling us her journey, how she became Limbo Queen. She'll be telling us what a limbo is, something that originated from the Caribbean. How it started, how she got started, how she overcame her pain in doing the limbo to find her joy. Let me tell you a little bit about Shemika. Shemika hails from a long line of limbo artists. Both her mother and her grandmother were both limbo dancers, carrying on a tradition of the Trinidad and Universal Conversation with myself, Anne Welsh. As I said in my introduction, today's conversation will truly blow your mind away. We're talking about flexibility. How many of you have ever thought about being flexible, man? Imagine trying to just bend over or do whatever. My guest, Shemika, will be telling you about her journey, how she became this flexible, and what challenges and pains did she have to go through to become a Guinness World Record holder. I mean, not many of us could say we have that, but she's just achieved that. How are you, Shemika?
I am amazing. I'm great. How are you?
I'm super good. I'm super good. And not only am I great, I'm also very excited to be talking to you because your story has had everyone talking about you. And we all sat in our little room talking about you, saying, how amazing, how does she do it? And one thing I wanted everyone to know is that what you do is what they call the limbo dancing. And a
Yeah.
lot of people might not know what it is. But before we even get into that, could you tell us in a few words, Shemika, who are you?
I am Shemika Campbell. I am originally from the islands of Trinidad and Tobago, which is where Limbo originated. And I am a Limbo queen, a Limbo extraordinaire, I should say.
And for those who might not know, they might be wondering, what is limbo? Could you briefly describe that to us? What is that?
So limbo is basically bending backwards and basically balancing your body, moving on the sides of your feet under a bar.
Wow.
A horizontal bar.
Where did you get started? How did it get started? Why did you decide? Is it a typical culture of yours, or what happened? How did you get into this?
Well, my family is we have a family band where we sing, we feature Caribbean music and the limbo dance. So my mom is a singer as well as a limbo dancer. Well, used to be years ago in our family band, Caribbean Extravaganza. So with limbo being a part of our culture, we incorporated that into our floor show, into our band, and really was one of the main things was to really promote our culture as much as possible. So that's how I got into it. At the age of 14, we got an offer to go to the Florida State Fair. And my uncle asked, was I interested in training? Did I want to actually get into it? And I was delighted and excited to get on stage and perform. So it's basically been history ever since.
So not anyone, because when I see the limbo dance, I just think it's something you're born with. Your body's automatically flexible. You didn't need to do much because it's something you're born with automatically. You probably just needed to do a little bit of training. Can anyone at a young age practice to be good at limbo?
Absolutely. Limbo is very unique. It's not something that, the normal everyday person can do. But it is something that you can work towards if you have a certain level of flexibility and the will to develop the skill of limbo.
Have you always been flexible? Have you always felt different from everyone else that you are now going on to win all these records? Have you always felt, I think I'm a little bit more flexible than you, even if we compete, it doesn't matter. I know I can do it better than anyone else.
Yes. Well, over the years, I've danced with other dancers. I've, performed with other, performers and entertainers. And, there has been people and, acts that are way more flexible than I am, but they still can't do what I do. So it does involve a lot of flexibility, yes, but the fact that you're flexible doesn't really necessarily mean that you can limbo,
So
but
how
it
did
can be
you train?
around.
How did you train to become this incredible futures such as the limboing in very small spaces? Is that a culture thing, or is that something you had to train and you wanted to go and be better?
Both. It is a culture thing. Um, Limbo on a whole originated in Trinidad. So it was, there's a different stories as far as the history is concerned and how it actually made it to Trinidad. But it was developed in Trinidad. It was done at wakes originally to symbolize the passing from one life to the next. And it was done eventually at weddings and eventually at parties and, casual fun, beach events, parties, all that. So it has evolved over time. But I think that it eventually lost its, I can't say value, but, people weren't really respecting limbo as an art anymore. They just looked at it as just something fun, which is fine. It's just fun and everything. Who doesn't like to have fun? So the fun part of it is great, but I really wanted the world to know that there is a skillful and artistic part of limbo, the cultural part. So yeah, that was really important to me to not only, for my own personal, I guess, goals, but it was also very important to me to really share my culture as much as possible.
I love that you've been promoting Trinidad and Tobago through doing this, because a lot of people would now have to rehearse and research what is this island and how beautiful it is, the size and diversity of the country. And it's not something that we talk about, but this is something now you're bringing attention to the place and also bringing back something that's almost lost generation and almost losing the limbo, but you're now bringing it back, because I saw that in 2020 in Trinidad, you went back and you did the crawl, and you crawled a total distance of 12.8. I think it's 12 feet 8 under a 2 jeep. Why
Yeah.
of the Port of Spain witnessed it in person? I mean, this is amazing. Something that is a cultural thing. Now you've brought it back. You're bringing highlight to the country. So tell me, what did you do?
I set my third Guinness World Record in my homeland of Trinidad and Tobago, which was extremely important to me. My first record was set here in the US on a show called Regis and Kelly back in 2010. And then I set my second Guinness World Record in Beijing, China in 2016. So it was really, really, really important to me to set a Guinness World Record in Trinidad and Tobago. And last year, like during the height of the pandemic, I was able to still remotely make that happen. So that was great to me and really meant a lot to me and hopefully my country too.
Of course it did. I'm sure it did. Yeah, but you've been on many talk shows. You've been on Ellen. You've been on, I could name a few. And you've talked, especially in the United States and worldwide. How do you prepare yourself mentally? I mean, because it doesn't matter what you do in life. When you're determined to do something, you need to train your mind as well to say, I'm not just going to do this anymore. I'm now going to do it to set a record, and a record that beats my other record. How do you prepare yourself mentally, knowing that all the spotlights are on you, Shemika?
I honestly don't know how to answer that question. It's like my mom and I, shout out to my mom, Sherry. My mom, she is literally like my inspiration, like my idol. Like she's the reason I got into Limbo. She's the reason that I still Limbo today. And like we were just talking about that. Like it's literally like a switch that like just happens. Like I don't know when and how it takes place, but like at some time between backstage or, you know, right before I get on stage and actually lights, camera, action, something goes on in here and I can't really explain it, but it's like I just am.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that, you know, to be able to, you know, just go and just turn this, I guess,
Oh, wow.
experience on. I don't even know how to put it into words, but it's definitely something that's natural and something that I appreciate very much.
So as a holder of 3 Guinness World Records in the Limbo, when did you know I can actually do this?
When I was 14. It was like shortly after my first 2-week gig with the band as a featured Limbo dancer. And when we got back, the whole band got back from the trip. My uncle, Bob Diaz, who's my Limbo trainer, he, you know, brought up the idea of me actually being able to set this Guinness World Record because there was no record before me. I literally set the record, the first record for the female lowest limbo. And the fact that there was no record, the fact that I'm a Trinidadian, a Trinbagonian, and I had the ability, I had the, you know, the youth and everything to take on this record, I was all for it, 100% from day one. It got really hard and really complicated, you know, through training and everything, but it was something that I truly love to do. And I'm happy that I was able to accomplish all these goals.
When the spotlight started coming to you, like then, you know, you did the Regis and Kelly, obviously the spotlight started coming to you, then they said, we need you to come. This is your first Guinness World Record. And when you first got that call and says, you're going there to do this Guinness World Record, what were the feeling like inside you that you were going to do, set something? Because what I want my audience to understand is that with all this training comes a lot of sacrifice as well. And it's something that we shouldn't miss out in this conversation, is the sacrifice and the pain of the dedication that you have to give to get yourself to where you need to be. You know, what was that sacrifice? What did you have to overcome to get yourself ready?
Well, I had to sacrifice a lot as far as my youth, and not my youth, but my childhood, pretty much. Like when, you know, my friends were going to the mall and having sleepovers and shopping and all of that, I was practicing in the basement or in the living room somewhere and stretching and crawling up the stairs because my body is so sore from today's practice. So it was very, very, very different for me. And in a way, it wasn't forced on me though. It wasn't something that I felt that I had to do. It was something that I knew that I had to make the sacrifice in order to do. But it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like a tug of war thing for me. It was like, oh, I can't go to the mall because I have to go to practice. But, you know, when I make it on stage and when I actually, you know, perform and everything, I was really hoping that all my hard work will pay off. And thank God that it did, you know, but yeah, it was hard, you know, sacrificing fun time.
Yeah, you can tell you love it. I mean, it's not that I can see you love it. There's so much passion in you. It's not something, because a lot of people will not get this far, win the first Guinness World, second Guinness World, third Guinness, is because you truly love it. One
Yes.
thing I know about Limbo, it does not come with any pain, without pain. When setting the world record in Beijing, China, you had a serious injury and you had to undergo physical therapy for 6 months. Wow, that's a long time. Could
Yeah.
you describe the feeling when you felt that this might be over, my whole dream might be over when you were going through that pain?
It was devastating. Like I don't know life without Limbo. I still don't know life without Limbo. And it happened just like so random and just like so sudden because I was, traveling, I was performing, I was, doing NBA halftime shows, doing TV shows, and it was just like my life just came to like a halt so just randomly. And as I said, just the thought of life without Limbo was it didn't sit well with me. Let's just say that. And it was scary because I didn't know if I would have needed surgery in order to recover from the injury. And after going to physical therapy and after not being able to, I couldn't even stretch. Like it wasn't like, okay, well, you can't limbo for 6 months. Like I couldn't do any stretching. I was in extreme pain. And I really had to reevaluate my life for just in case I did have to get surgery. And, you never know what the outcome of surgery is going to be, whether or not I would have gained the same flexibility back, if I would have been able to still perform and do the things that I do. And yeah, it was scary. It was scary, but thank God I was able to overcome that injury and able to accomplish more in the world.
Yeah, because if that happened and that was for your second Guinness World Record, so then once you got better, you still found a good mindset within you that says, yeah, I'm now better now. I'm not stopping here. Because a lot of people, once that's happened, that's changed their lives. They still do go ahead, carry on with doing Limbo, but they do it on a more subtle. But you did it now on a more even aggressive level. Can you tell me the preparation that you took for the final, your third Guinness World Record?
It's truly my passion. Like I can't put it any other way, because even like mentally, I will always think about the pain that I went through during my recovery time, as well as after, because of course you feel like the little pulls and the little random, you know, um, just pain. And then you think, okay, well, is it that? Okay, maybe it's not that. So it does, mess with your mental a little bit. But yeah, I somehow, was able to still move forward and do more with Limbo. As I said, it's my passion. I love it. And it's challenging. I love the challenge of Limbo. Me having to work towards something, me having to be consistent, for all of these years, and just try to set new records and just set the bar. This is so funny. I'm setting the bar higher for Limbo, but yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing, just trying to modernize Limbo. I don't want it to be a thing that, people were doing back in the day. I don't want that. I want it to where it's fun. It's, of course, educational, because now you know that about the artistic part. And maybe you want to try it. I definitely do not discourage any Limbo dancers at all. Young, middle-aged, old, does not matter. You can try to Limbo. You don't have to be the Limbo queen of the world in order to, try to do the Limbo, just the fact that you know what Limbo is now. And maybe, hopefully, where it came from is more than enough for me.
And that's what I love about you, is that you're not just doing Limbo, you're also promoting your culture as well. You're letting you're bringing it back, you're bringing the modernness about it, you're making it, should we say sexy again? So even though something is trying to fade away and people probably, young kids will not want to do it, you're telling them, guys, this has opened so much doors for me. Look at what, just by doing this, it's opened so much doors for me. I think this is a great thing that we should take on board and do more of it. So how much joy does that bring you? Just bringing that, love of your culture back to life again.
I enjoy that so much. I think that's one of my favorite parts, is the fact that I get to see the effect that it's having on, so many kids. And, I perform at schools and I've done different interviews. And, while I was in Trinidad, I did it was like a career day. And it was like a Zoom, and the students were at home. And they had me basically answer these different questions for the students, and they were asking, oh, how did you get into it? What made you want? Basically all the questions that you're asking, what the average, person would want to know about, Limbo, and how I was able to do what I did. And it felt so good to connect with them that way, to see how interested they were, and how they're right after seeing, because they show like a little video, a little clip of my performance, and afterwards you're seeing them putting their legs up and they're bending this way and that way. And yeah, I love it. Like, even after my live performances, especially with the band, I had like these autograph cards that I made especially for my young audience. So afterwards, they used to make a long line, and I'll give out the cards too, and ask them, oh, hi, what's your name? Oh, Kayla, hi, Kayla. To Kayla, love the Limbo Queen, and have her little picture time. So I love it. I'm actually planning to do a Limbo Kids, like a school tour, a Limbo Kids school tour. Where I will go to the different schools in the Buffalo area. Hopefully, I'm able to expand it one day. Yeah. But I would like to different schools and educate them about, of course, Limbo, put on a performance, and really try to, inspire them. So, maybe it wouldn't necessarily be Limbo for them, but whatever it is that their passion is, that it is absolutely okay to be different. It is okay to just follow your dreams and be anything that you want to be. From the Limbo Queen.
I have to ask you, Shemika, do you have to be on a special diet when you are doing the Limbo, when you have to prepare for challenges? Because I'm presuming you have to be of a certain weight, or is that not a problem at all for you?
It's not a problem. I don't, this question is kind of, because I have a very fast metabolism. So where the everyday person would normally not and shouldn't eat certain things at certain times, or maybe not at all, I kind of get away with that. I never really had to diet, so to speak. I've definitely changed my eating to where I wouldn't, snack off as much, or I wouldn't eat certain foods. But as far as a real diet, I would say the only times that I've kind of been on a diet was right before my training for my records, or during my training for my records. So instead of eating, KFC or something, I'll eat maybe a salad instead.
I think it's yeah. Now, I before I let you go, Shemika, this has been really a delight to really talk to you. Can you show us, I don't know if it's possible in your direction, what my audience might not know, although we're going to play your video clip, but how flexible, how do you do it? How do you just bend over typically?
How? I'm just flexible. I'm just able to do it. And because I've been consistent for so long, yeah, that's how I'm still able to throw my legs up randomly.
Wow.
Should probably put behind my head.
That is truly amazing. That is truly amazing. Wow. Yeah, thank you so much. And honestly, I know you have so much going on. I know you have bigger things planned in the pipeline. Let us know when you go for the Guinness World Record number 4, because I'm sure you have to go for number 4. Keep us posted, and many, many congratulations with everything you've achieved. Bring the limelight to Trinidad and Tobago, letting people, the youth again, know the importance of appreciating your culture, because it could get you places. People are always embarrassed to do what their culture says, not realizing that could be your door opener. Thank you so much for this time. I really appreciate this.
No, thank you so much for having me. And until we meet again, until next time, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.